Hey guys, well, I was just finishing up feeding my fish. I figured I would just talk to you about the struggles of having a reef tank. Man, I love these saltwater fish and I love just keeping the reef tank. I love the challenge. But this year, this tank's probably 6 years old and it's run without fail. I haven't had anything major go wrong with it. I fought back algae just a little bit a couple times and won that battle. Once I got it out, I'd had no problems until this year. And then my protein skimmer, I bought two protein skimmers, the same brand, same size. One does a 29-gallon tank and the other one does this 40-gallon breeder. And they both decided to go out at about the same time. And this one I was able to get back going, even though I struggled with it for a while. It just wasn't right. But I finally got the internals cleaned out, and I guess it was just salt creep, I guess. The other one it wasn't so lucky with, and the other one decided to have a heater go out in it, and I had some anemones in it, and this tank was full of anemones. And ever since I've struggled with all that, then my anemones have kind of struggled growing, and actually I've lost some anemones, which kind of led to another outbreak of algae. And I'm starting to get on top of it on this one, but at some point, I'm just kind of like, I just want to break from it. And I've done it for 6 years, and this tank, I just loved it so much. But this tank, the anemones took over, and I kind of couldn't do anything else in this tank, so I was kind of unhappy with that. And the other tank, the anemones kind of didn't really take over, but they had stung some of the corals that I had. It was pretty much like I had a frag rack and had quite a few zoas on it and pallies, and just one anemone just kind of roamed all over the tank and just kind of left a path of destruction. So that changed my plans there. And then unfortunately, when my heater and my protein skimmer went out and I got bubble algae, which that right there I hate bubble algae. That was such a struggle to get over that. I finally got over it, but I'm over it for a little while. I'm thinking about just going to freshwater. And I kind of see that like in most people's YouTube videos, like the trend seems like in this hobby is going back to freshwater. And I've kind of noticed it going back to guppies, like where it all started. And why not? I mean, they're really colorful. They're beautiful fish. They've got a personality. They'll chase you around the tank, begging for food. Where these guys are freaked out by this camera, if you cannot tell. They just keep trying to peek and see what's going on. And they're so much easier to care for. A reef tank is so rewarding when everything goes right, but just one small malfunction, one small thing goes wrong, it's just kind of like a domino effect where other things go wrong. I mean, that's the protein skimmer went out and my nitrates went up just a little bit, and as I struggle with it, and my anemones just haven't done right. I think my heater may have got bumped up a little high because the water was really warm while I was messing with the protein skimmer. So my anemones, which it's kind of good to be able to see in the tank now, not just a forest of anemones. But once they died, then that left more nutrients in the water, and it is so hard to get over, and it is such a crushing defeat when anything goes wrong. And I just think that I'm kind of going with the trend now. I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to try to rehome these. I have a blue damsel somewhere. I don't know where that is. He's back there somewhere. He sure was out when I was feeding them. And these two tomato clowns, which are not too aggressive, they're not really bad. But in my other tank, I've got two maroon clownfish, and the female is so aggressive that you can't clean the tank. She keeps knocking the scrubber off when I try to scrub the glass, or she's hitting whatever I put down in there. You can't put your hand in the tank, that's for sure, or you're going to be bleeding. So yeah, it's time to take a break. I'm definitely coming back to saltwater because I love it so much. I'm going to start over. Almost would think about no fish, maybe just corals, maybe just a frag tank. I don't know it, but I definitely want to do the saltwater because I just love it and I love the challenge. But I may just go back to freshwater and hit, if I want the challenge, I may go to discus. I love my discus when I had them. They're very easy to keep compared to this, and it's just not quite as expensive. The salt's going up. Salt is really expensive now. Just any of the nutrients or any of the trace elements stuff you put in there is getting pretty high. The food is getting pretty high. And the gas to go anywhere to get this stuff, because it's not just readily available in any town, is going pretty high. So, I know any of you that are out there are probably, in the same boat or about to be. One little malfunction's all it takes to just burn you. At least if a heater goes out in a freshwater tank, you're probably going to be all right. You could probably get by for a night. Not in a saltwater tank. And it just, as you can see, like on the back, I had just some pink coralline algae, but it's gotten green. There's a little bit of hair algae on that. It's not really hair algae. It's a really short algae, and it's not as thick as it was. Over here on this side of the tank, it's pretty well cleared up, and my anemones are kind of starting to grow back. But yeah, I'm thinking I just want to get rid of these, maybe trade them for some something I can breed, maybe some platies and some I don't know. I do like gouramis. They're like some of my favorite fish. I do love egg-laying fish. I'm gonna breed some betas. That was always one of my things. My hobby is just like I love breeding fish. That's a nice little thing. It's also heartbreaking sometimes, but you get over it pretty quickly, and it's not quite as expensive as this. But at least I haven't lost any fish or lost really any corals except in my other tank, where the for some reason the pallies took over after the anemone went through and wiped out a bunch of my zoas. For some reason it did not hurt any of the pallies, and then the pallies just grew like weeds after that. And I don't know. The pallies, they're ugly, they're poisonous, and yeah, I don't know. It's just time for a change. But if anybody else has had similar experiences, let me know. I wish these fish would come out. Boy, they sure know when you're holding the camera. If I'm in the dark and they can see me, so they definitely have good eyesight. But and these tomato clowns, which were supposed to be really aggressive, I could put my hands in the tank and they're kind of like they're kind of leery of it. Maybe they'll run at it just a little bit, but they never bother me too much. But man, let me tell you, those maroon clownfish, that female, you do not put your hand in that tank. She is probably the most aggressive fish I've ever had. And I've had like some pretty aggressive cichlids, and I hadn't had a piranha, but I've had my hands in the tank with a piranha before, and I was fine. But you cannot put your hand in the tank with that maroon clownfish. So. But yeah, it's just it's time for a change. If any of you are in West Tennessee and if you have any fish to breed, I would love to breed cichlids or guppies, or just I would take mud guppies just to get going. But just hit me up and maybe we can make a trade. So I hope that if any of you do have a saltwater tank, you don't have this kind of struggle. Maybe you have the time to devote to it every single day, but when you get sick and you miss anything, that's another little setback. Things get out of whack, and then I'm telling you, it just topples over. And just after a while, it's just time. I've done it for 6 years. I'm really happy with my success, You know, I haven't lost any fish, and other than by suicides by jumping out of the tank. And once I got the topper on this, that stopped. But yeah, there you go. Just it's time for a change, time to redo things. And you know, I'm gonna document all my fish breeding, and I'm gonna try to make a name for myself. And you know, who knows, maybe I can get a fish store going. Maybe I can go brick and mortar. Maybe I'll just keep it as a hobby. Who knows? You know, I'm not setting any kind of crazy expectations. I just, you know, I have dreams just like everybody else. I'm sure like all of you out there, you probably would love to have a fish store. That would be a huge dream of mine. So let's all make a pact that we're going to make our dream come true. So follow me. Hopefully it will. If not, if you do it, you know, hit me up. I'd love to follow you and watch you do it. So, but good luck to you, and I appreciate you watching my video, and hopefully I'll have a video here every night of some sort. And, you know, I don't have any incredible tanks, unfortunately, to show you, but maybe you can watch me grow. So, just stay tuned, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.